Hey science fans, when you hear radiation, do you picture glowing goo or comic book villains? In reality, radiation is everywhere. Sunlight, microwaves, even the radio waves bringing you music. It's just energy on the move, sometimes harmless, sometimes powerful. The trick is knowing which is which and why some types can be risky for our bodies. Understanding radiation isn't about fear, it's about curiosity and smart choices. Today we'll explore what radiation really is, where it comes from, and how it affects us. From bananas to the stars, radiation is a part of our universe. Let's dive in and turn confusion into clarity. So what exactly is radiation? It's a word we hear often, but its true meaning is often misunderstood. Radiation is simply energy that travels from one place to another, often invisible to our eyes, but always present in our world. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond. The ripples that spread out are like energy waves, moving away from the source in all directions. Radiation works in a similar way, carrying energy outward, sometimes gently, sometimes with great force. The sun is our biggest natural source of radiation, sending us not just visible light, but also invisible ultraviolet rays and warmth that make life possible on Earth. Every day, we feel the sun's energy, even if we can't see all of it. But radiation isn't just from the sun. Even the ground beneath our feet, rocks and soil, gives off natural radiation. It's a part of our environment, and humans have learned to use radiation in many ways to improve our lives. For example, X-rays allow doctors to look inside our bodies without surgery, helping diagnose and treat illnesses. Nuclear power plants use controlled radiation to generate electricity for our homes and cities. And even the smoke detectors in our homes rely on a tiny amount of radiation to keep us safe by detecting fires early. Scientists organize all these different types of energy into what's called the electromagnetic spectrum. This spectrum ranges from low-energy radio waves, which bring us music and news, to high-energy X-rays and gamma rays, which have much more power. Low-energy waves like radio and microwaves are generally harmless. But high energy, or ionizing radiation, has enough power to knock particles out of atoms, which can change the structure of matter itself. That's the type of radiation we need to respect, because it can interact with our bodies in ways that may cause harm if we're exposed to too much. Our bodies can handle a little radiation, just like we can enjoy a gentle breeze. But too much exposure is like facing a hurricane instead of a breeze, overwhelming and potentially dangerous. That's why knowing the difference between safe and unsafe levels of radiation helps us make smart choices and stay protected in our daily lives. Now, let's take a closer look at what actually happens when radiation meets the tiny building blocks of our bodies, our cells. Zoom in. Our bodies are made of trillions of cells, each one a tiny, complex world of its own, working together to keep us alive and healthy every second of the day. Inside every cell is DNA, the blueprint for life, containing all the instructions needed for our bodies to grow, function, and repair themselves. This delicate code is what makes you, you. But when ionizing radiation enters the picture, it can damage this DNA, almost like scribbling over those vital instructions, making it harder for the cell to read and follow them correctly. Most of the time, our cells are equipped with repair tools to fix this damage, patching up the DNA so things run smoothly. However, if the radiation dose is too high or the exposure lasts too long, these repair systems can get overwhelmed and start to fail. When the blueprint is too damaged, the cell may shut down and die to protect the body, or, in some cases, it might survive but with serious errors in its DNA. These faulty cells can begin dividing out of control, ignoring the normal checks and balances, which can eventually lead to the formation of tumors and the development of cancer. That's why high doses or long-term exposure to radiation significantly increase the risk of cancer, because the more DNA damage there is, the greater the chance that a cell will go rogue. It's not a guarantee that cancer will develop, but the risk rises with the amount and duration of exposure, making it important to limit unnecessary contact with radiation whenever possible. Now let's take a closer look at what happens inside the body when someone receives a large dose of radiation all at once, and how the effects can unfold rapidly. A huge dose of ionizing radiation in a short time can cause acute radiation syndrome, or RS, like a severe sunburn on the inside. This doesn't happen from X-rays or flying. It's rare, like in nuclear accidents. Early symptoms are nausea and fatigue, as fast-dividing cells are hit first. After a brief recovery, serious problems set in. Bone marrow stops making blood cells, leading to infections and bleeding. Even survivors face higher cancer risks later, as damaged DNA can cause problems years down the line. That's why strict safety protocols exist wherever radiation is used. Now, what about the idea of a critical dose? A critical dose is a level of radiation exposure so high that the body's natural repair systems simply can't keep up. This means the damage to cells and tissues is overwhelming, and the body can't recover. Thankfully, reaching a critical dose is extremely rare, and it usually only happens in severe accidents, like major nuclear disasters or serious industrial mishaps. At this level of exposure, survival becomes very unlikely, even with the best medical care available. The damage is just too extensive for doctors to reverse, and the body's vital systems start to fail. That's why these situations are treated as true emergencies. Because of these risks, safety is the absolute top priority in nuclear industries. Multiple layers of shielding, strict safety protocols, and constant monitoring are all in place to protect workers and the public from dangerous exposure. In everyday life, you won't come close to a critical dose, but it's still important to be Rad-Safe. Simple habits like wearing sunscreen to block ultraviolet radiation from the sun and following your doctor's advice when getting X-rays or other medical scans help keep your exposure low and safe. Remember, radiation isn't just something to fear, it's also a powerful tool. It generates electricity for our cities, helps doctors treat and diagnose diseases, and is carefully controlled to benefit our lives. Radiation even lets us explore the universe, powering spacecraft and helping scientists unlock the mysteries of space. It's not a villain, but a tool that, when used wisely, can do amazing things. Stay curious, keep asking questions, and always use your knowledge to make smart, safe choices about radiation and science in general. That's how you think and act like a scientist.